This story isn't just a tale of a woman fighting for her rightful place. It's a journey we can all relate to. How many of us have hidden behind a mask, trying to live up to others' expectations, fearing what might happen if we dared to step into the light as our true selves? Amelia's journey is a powerful reminder that we all have the strength within us to break free from the shadows, claim our voice, and embrace our truth. If you've ever felt the weight of silence, the pressure to be someone you're not, then this story was meant for you. Let's walk this path together. I grew up in a world woven from shadows, not the kind you see at night, but the kind that settle in the corners of a room, whispering secrets no one dares to listen to. My mother was the seamstress who worked on gowns for ladies too rich to care. I remember watching her work, her fingers stitching away the hours, the fabric slipping through her hands like time itself. The royal family's orders were the most coveted, and I would often sit by her side as she sewed, imagining what their world might be like. Royalty in gold-threaded gowns, walking through grand halls of marble, their lives written in ink that never smudged. I never thought I'd see any of it up close, certainly never to become a part of it. But fate, it seemed, had a way of drawing the most unlikely people into its story. When the offer came, it was both a whisper and a roar. The royal family was looking for a body double. Not just any double, someone who resembled Princess Celeste, the bride-to-be of Crown Prince Sebastian. The similarities in our features were uncanny, to the point that the royal family needed someone to stand in while Celeste practiced for her wedding. I had always been a shadow in my own life. Why not become one for someone else, for something that felt like it belonged to a world I could never touch? I had never considered such a life for myself. The idea that I, Amelia Leclerc, daughter of a seamstress in a cramped apartment on Rue Saint-Antoine, might become a princess, even if only in name, felt absurd. Yet, here I was, standing in the grand hall of a palace I had only seen in fairy tales, the echo of my every step mingling with the hum of distant voices and the rustling of silk. The palace was as foreign as the dreams I used to have. Its walls lined with golden mirrors, the chandeliers hanging like frozen waterfalls, and the air itself thick with perfume and secrets. I tried not to let my nerves show. The servants, some of whom had been here for decades, treated me with the kind of cautious respect one shows a guest in an unfamiliar house. There was pity in their eyes, as if they could see through the pretense. They knew, just as I did, that I was not meant to be here. Not truly. I was merely a placeholder. A stand-in for a life I had no right to lead. But there were moments, fleeting and fragile, when I allowed myself to imagine what it might be like. What if I belonged here? What if I was more than just a shadow? I was led to a room where the gown, Celeste's gown, hung like a heavy promise in the center. It was white, delicate, and endless in its beauty. I stood before it, the sheer weight of its elegance pressing down on me. How could something so delicate be made to fit the shape of me? The first fitting was an assault on my senses. The dress, crafted from the finest silk and embroidered with tiny diamonds that caught the light in dazzling patterns, swallowed me whole. The seamstress, who seemed to find amusement in my discomfort, adjusted the hem, pinning the fabric to my frame. I could barely breathe, trapped in the folds of something so beautiful, so unreal. "Perfect," she whispered, almost to herself, though I wasn't sure whether she was speaking of the dress or of me. Am I even capable of being perfect? The gowns, the pearls, the diamonds, none of it belonged to me. I was an actress playing a role I had never auditioned for. I was slipping deeper into the real world, but with each passing moment, I felt more like a ghost in this glittering palace. Then there was him, Prince Sebastian. The first time I saw him, I was not prepared. It was as though the room itself shuddered. He entered quietly, like a storm wrapped in royal blue, his dark hair falling over his brow in deliberate disarray. He was tall, his presence filling the room as if the air itself bent to him. His eyes, a deep shade of green, flickered toward me for a fraction of a second before he quickly turned away. My heart stuttered. He wasn't supposed to notice me. I wasn't the one he was meant to see. I wasn't the woman he was about to marry. Yet there it was, a brief, shared glance that felt like an unspoken conversation. Did he see me? Or was I just a reflection of the woman he thought I was? I didn't know how to breathe. His gaze was like a touch, a flame against my skin, yet it was so cold, so distant. He said nothing, and I wondered if he even noticed my hesitation. But I noticed his. It was subtle, as if he could not quite place me, as if something about me was wrong, an imperfection in the fabric of his royal world. I looked away, focusing instead on the delicate lace of my gown, the way it pooled around me, a symbol of something I could never be. I was not Celeste. I never would be. Yet, as I stood there, watching him leave, I couldn't ignore the strange pull in my chest, the flicker of something unspoken between us. Is he as trapped as I am? The next few days passed in a haze. The rehearsals, the fittings, the whispered instructions, they all blended together. Every glance from the royal staff, every calculated gesture felt like a reminder of my place. I was here to mimic, to pretend, to wear a life that was never mine, and all the while Celeste remained distant, never quite meeting my eyes. One evening, as I stood by a window overlooking the sprawling gardens, my mind drifted. I wondered about the world outside these walls, the people who lived without the weight of gold crowns or inherited titles. Were they free? Were they allowed to simply be who they were, without pretending to be something else? Would it be so terrible to want more than just this? My fingers brushed against the cold glass and I caught a glimpse of myself in the reflection. For a moment, I didn't see a body double in the dress, a shadow in the palace. I saw a woman, me, standing in a world where she never truly belonged, yet longing to carve out a space for herself. As the evening wore on and the stars began to twinkle like diamonds in the night sky, I could almost feel the weight of the life I had always imagined. But is this the life I want? I turned away from the window, the reflection of my face lingering in my mind like a question left unanswered. The next morning, I was ready to step further into this world of silk and lies, but I knew one thing for certain. I had to figure out who I truly was before I lost myself completely in the shadow of someone else. The palace is a labyrinth of cold, polished floors and gilded mirrors, stretching endlessly in every direction. A place where shadows are not cast, but reflected, fractured into 1,000 glimmering pieces that show you things you cannot touch. I move through it, caught between the woman I was before I entered this place and the woman I am pretending to be. The gown, the smiles, the rehearsals, they all feel like layers of someone else's skin, slowly suffocating me. I find myself staring at the reflection in the mirror every morning, searching for some trace of the girl I used to be, but each time, I see only the woman I've become. A stranger draped in silk, walking the halls of a castle she doesn't belong in. I stand before the mirror now, staring at the elegant woman who smiles back at me. The perfect smile. The one I've practiced for hours on end, over and over. It's a smile that belongs to Celeste, not me. The contours of my lips pull into place, the soft curve of my jaw, the glint in my eyes. Every gesture is carefully rehearsed, every move a practiced imitation. How much longer can I keep pretending to be someone else? The sound of my heels clicking against the floor is all I hear in the vast silence of the room. A sound so lonely it echoes against the walls, empty and cold, as if the very palace itself is rejecting my presence. Each day is a reminder of how much I don't belong here. The rehearsals, the fittings, the lessons on royal etiquette, all of it feels like a performance. I was never meant to be royalty. I was never meant to be seen by anyone but the servants and the courtiers who ignore me, their eyes slipping past me as if I am invisible. And Celeste, Princess Celeste, remains distant, a shadow at the periphery of my existence. She never meets my gaze. There is no kindness in her eyes, no acknowledgement of the woman who stands in her place. I have been cast in the role of a mirror, reflecting her image without ever touching the heart of who she is. She is a figure in the distance, someone whose life is an unreachable dream, and I am a pale imitation. The other night, I overheard a conversation in the hall as I passed, unnoticed, another fragment of their world that will never be mine. "She looks perfect," one of the maids whispered. "The resemblance is uncanny." There was a brief silence before she continued, almost too softly for me to hear. But it's just that, isn't it? She's not really the one. She's just a stand-in. My heart sank. Just a stand-in. That's all I am. That's all I'll ever be. The words lingered in the air like a dark cloud that would not dissipate. How many more days would I live this charade? How long before I vanish into the backdrop, forgotten the moment the real Princess Celeste steps into the spotlight? I try to shake the thought, but it clings to me. The doubts, the emptiness, the gnawing feeling that I am lost in someone else's life. My hand trembles as I adjust the veil, the one meant to cover me, make me blend in. I pull it closer, the weight of it pressing against my skin. Who am I beneath all this? As I prepare for another round of rehearsals, I find myself standing at the entrance to the grand ballroom. The doors swing open, revealing the glittering expanse of crystal chandeliers and velvet curtains, each breath in the room laced with the scent of fresh flowers and expensive perfumes. It's beautiful, yes, but in this place, it feels like a gilded cage, one that I cannot escape. I step onto the polished marble floor, my heels tapping softly, a sound so stark against the silence of the palace. The room, empty save for a few servants moving in the background, feels more like a stage. I am an actor on a set, each step calculated, each turn rehearsed. The mirror reflects my every movement as I practice the walk, the royal stride I've been told to master. One foot forward, then the other, each movement smooth and poised. Celeste's walk, not mine. Her delicate steps, her posture that speaks of grace, of command. Why can't I make it mine? Hours pass in solitude, the rehearsals blur into one another, the ballroom is empty when I finish, and I stand there for a moment, feeling the weight of my own presence. The silence is oppressive, drowning out the echo of my steps. The princess's voice, her laugh, her presence, they are all so far away, and I am left alone, caught in a mirror that shows a face that is not mine. When will this end? I look up, and there, standing in the doorway, is him. Prince Sebust, and he watches me, his gaze sharp and discerning, as if he has stepped into a world he is not quite sure of. There is an unreadable expression on his face. His green eyes flicker, scanning me, as if searching for something beyond the veil I wear, something he can't quite place. For a moment, time seems to still, the air thick between us, charged with an electricity I can't explain. His gaze lingers on mine, and there is a flicker of something. Curiosity, maybe? Or maybe pity. I can't tell. He steps forward, closing the distance between us with each measured step. Amelia, is it? His voice is low, not commanding but thoughtful. He says my name with a softness that doesn't quite match the cold walls of the palace. You've been working hard, I see. His words are simple, but in them there is something deeper, something that stirs a flutter in my chest. Am I seen? Is this what it feels like to be seen? To be noticed by someone who isn't pretending to be something else? I'm just doing my part, I reply, my voice shaking slightly. I don't want him to see the cracks, to see the parts of me that are breaking. His lips quirk in a small, almost imperceptible smile. There's a warmth in it, a gentleness that doesn't fit the crown, the throne, the future that awaits him. He steps closer still, his presence enveloping me. Don't forget, he says quietly, you're doing more than standing in for someone else. Don't lose yourself in the role. His words hang in the air like a quiet promise, but before I can respond, he turns and walks away. His figure fades into the shadows of the palace, leaving me standing there, breathless and unsettled. Is it possible? Could I be more than the shadow of someone else? Could I step out of this role and become who I was meant to be? The questions twist in my mind as I stand there, alone again, feeling the weight of the room and the weight of my own doubts pressing down on me. I am Amelia Leclerc, not Celeste, not a princess, but who am I truly if I can't find my place in this gilded world? The door slams shut behind me, and I feel the walls of the palace closing in. I need to find myself before I lose everything I was. Palace, with all its gold and marble, feels colder than ever. The walls close in on me like a suffocating embrace. their gilded edges stark against the shadows that seem to grow with each passing day. I stand in front of a mirror again, my reflection staring back at me, yet it feels like a stranger. Who am I? The question echoes inside my mind as I trace the outline of my face. Who am I really? The weight of my role as Celeste's double has begun to settle on my shoulders like an invisible burden. I am no longer just pretending to be her for the wedding. I am slowly becoming her, losing pieces of myself in the process. What's left of me when the dress, the walk, and the smile are all that remain? It's then that I find it, a letter. A simple thing, no more than a few pieces of paper, yet the moment I touch it, I know that it's something that will change everything. The envelope is unmarked, the handwriting unfamiliar, yet as my fingers tear it open, I can feel the weight of the words that lie inside. You are not who they say you are. The words hit me like a thunderclap. What does this mean? My heart races as I unfold the letter further. It speaks of hidden truths, of a bloodline erased from history, of betrayal buried deep within the walls of this very palace. The letter directs me to a place I never thought I would find, an old journal hidden within the royal archives, a place that holds the key to the truth about my family. I can feel my breath catch in my throat as I read on. My fingers tremble not just from fear, but from a deep sense of something I can't name. Dread, perhaps, or anticipation. The letter speaks of my father, my real father, a man I've never known, a man whose name has been wiped from the history books. He was once a confidant of the king, a man who walked beside royalty in a world that should have been mine. And yet, his name has been erased, his legacy buried, along with everything that could have been mine. Why? The question burns inside me, demanding answers. I have lived my whole life under the shadow of my mother's stories, her whispered tales of our family's royal connection. How could I have known that those tales, so full of wonder and longing, were laced with truth? How could she have kept this from me? The shock of it hits me, and I stagger backward, my heart pounding in my chest. The palace around me spins, the walls closing in as I try to process what I've just discovered. I am not just a girl from the streets of Paris. I am the daughter of someone who mattered. Someone who was once a part of this world. The letter goes on, revealing the depth of the betrayal my family faced. My father was accused of treason. False accusations that led to his disappearance, his name erased from the records of the kingdom. My mother, Elise Leclerc, was forced into hiding, her legacy tainted, her life shattered. I never knew this. My heart aches for the mother who kept this from me, for the woman who carried this burden alone. In the dead silence of the room, I can feel the weight of the truth pressing against me, suffocating me. How could they do this? How could they take my family's history and bury it like it never mattered? I stumble toward the window, the night sky stretching out before me like an endless expanse of dark velvet. The stars seem so distant, so far away. How did I come to this? How did I end up in a palace that belongs to someone else, standing in a role that was never mine? I close my eyes, my breath catching in my throat. How long can I keep living this lie? The sound of footsteps behind me startles me, and I turn to find myself face to face with the one person I never thought I would see. Prince Sebastian. His presence is like a shadow falling over me, his eyes searching mine with an intensity I cannot escape. He's closer than I expected, and I take an instinctive step back, my heart beating faster. He must have sensed the shift in me. Something has changed, and I can't hide it. He doesn't speak immediately. Instead, he watches me closely, his gaze flickering down to the letter in my hand. What's that? His voice is soft, but it carries a weight that presses against my chest. His eyes narrow slightly, as if trying to read me, trying to understand what I'm hiding. I hesitate. How much do I tell him? How much can I tell him? I clutch the letter to my chest, a sudden surge of panic rushing through me. It's nothing, I say, my voice tight. I try to brush past him, but his gaze holds me captive, his presence like an anchor. You don't have to hide it, he says quietly, stepping closer. There's a strange softness to his voice now, a softness I haven't heard before. He's not speaking like a prince, not with the distance I've come to expect. His words are sincere, filled with an unexpected warmth that tugs at something inside me. For a moment, I consider telling him. What would it mean to tell him the truth? What would it mean to trust him, to let him see the parts of me I've kept hidden for so long? I open my mouth to speak, but the words get caught in my throat. The truth feels too heavy, too dangerous. It could change everything. Amelia, he says softly, his voice almost a whisper. You're more than this, I can see it. His words hang in the air, and for the first time, I feel as though someone truly sees me, not just as the body double, not just as Celeste's replacement, but as the woman I am, the woman I'm becoming. His gaze lingers, and there's something there, something unspoken. My breath catches in my chest. Could it be possible that I am more than the role I've been cast in? Could I be more than the shadow I've been living in? I close my eyes, the weight of everything pressing down on me. I know that I have to face the truth, not just about my family, but about myself. I can't keep running from it. I need to know who I really am before I lose myself completely. I turn away from him, the letter still clenched in my hand. I need time to process what I've learned, time to make a choice. As I walk away, I feel the weight of my family's legacy pressing down on me. The truth is here, and it will not be ignored. I will no longer be a shadow. The gown hangs before me, impossibly white, its delicate fabric shimmering with a brilliance that seems to mock me. It's perfect, of course. Every stitch, every fold, every piece of lace has been crafted to create the illusion of a princess. An image, a reflection of someone I am not, yet someone I have been forced to become. My fingers brush against the gown, the silken material cool to the touch, and for a moment, it feels like the weight of the entire world presses down on my shoulder. This is not my life. This is not my name. I stand before the mirror, staring at the reflection that isn't truly mine. The woman in the mirror is poised, elegant, a perfect imitation of Celeste. Her hair is pinned into an elaborate updo, her face painted with the delicate mask of a princess. Her eyes are steady, calm, regal. But I am not her. The soft glow of the candlelight flickers in the reflection, casting shadows that make the edges of the room blur into an indistinct haze. I see only myself now, but who am I? Is this who I've become? The thought stirs something in me. A strange kind of emptiness that echoes in my chest, like a hollow space where my true self used to be. I'd come to this palace expecting to be a shadow, a reflection of the woman whose role I was meant to play. But this is my life too. I've let them shape me into something that wasn't meant to be. I've let them make me disappear. The soft click of the door behind me startles me, and I turn to see him. Prince Sebastian. His eyes fall on me, assessing, searching. Does he see me, or is he simply seeing Celeste in me? His face is serious, his expression unreadable, but there's something in the way he stands, the way he looks at me, that makes my breath catch. You look stunning, he says, his voice low, a quiet reverence that shouldn't affect me the way it does. Stunning? For whom? For what role am I stunning? I meet his gaze, my pulse quickening, and for a brief moment I wonder if he sees through the mask, if he knows the truth about who I am. But then the thought fades, lost in the chaos of my own heart. I can't keep pretending. I can't keep playing this part any longer. Thank you, I whisper, forcing the words through a throat that feels thick with unspoken truths. But it's not me. This gown, this role, it's not me. Sebastian steps closer, his presence overwhelming, like a storm in the distance. His eyes soften, and I can feel his gaze on me, searching for the woman behind the facade. He pauses, just out of reach, but there's an intensity in the air now that hadn't been there before. I know, he says, his voice quiet but insistent. I see it, Amelia. You wear it so well, but I know it's not you. The words hit me harder than I expected. He sees it? Does he truly see me, or is it just the quiet longing that lingers between us, unspoken and unknown? I want to ask him what he means, but I can't find the words. Instead, I turn away from him, back to the mirror, back to the reflection that holds my broken soul. You don't know what it's like, I whisper almost to myself, to be a shadow your whole life. Sebastian's footsteps draw nearer, and I feel the warmth of his presence behind me, the steady pressure of his gaze. I don't need to know what it's like, he says softly. I know what it means to lose yourself to something you never asked for. I freeze. His words, so simple yet so loaded, settle over me like a weight. He feels it too. He knows the struggle of losing yourself to a life you never wanted. He knows what it's like to be trapped in a role that wasn't yours to begin with. I turn to face him, the silence between us heavy with unspoken understanding. I can't keep pretending, I say, my voice trembling now. I don't belong here. I'm not her. I never was. Sebastian stands still for a moment, his eyes locked on mine, and I see something shift in them, something familiar, something that makes my heart race. Does he feel the same way? You don't have to pretend, he murmurs, almost as if to himself. You don't have to be anyone else. His words break through the fog in my mind, the haze of confusion that has clouded everything since I arrived in this gilded cage. I don't have to pretend. For the first time since I stepped into this palace, I realize something deep and profound. I have a choice. I take a deep breath, my fingers gripping the gown that has been forced upon me, a symbol of the life I was supposed to live but never chose. The truth begins to stir inside me, rising like a storm. I can no longer hide behind the mask of Celeste. I can no longer stand in her shadow. I've spent my whole life hiding, I say, the words rushing out before I can stop them. Hiding behind a name that isn't mine, behind a life that isn't mine. My voice falters, and I look away, fighting back tears. But I can't do it anymore. Sebastian watches me with a quiet intensity, his gaze softening as the truth settles between us. You don't have to hide anymore, he says, his voice like a quiet promise. I stand there, trembling, as the weight of his words crashes over me. The truth is raw, painful, and terrifying, but it's also liberating. I take a step forward, my heart pounding in my chest. The decision is clear now. I can either remain a shadow, a reflection of someone I'm not, or I can step into the light, into the truth. Tomorrow is the wedding, the culmination of everything I've been preparing for. The culmination of my life as Celeste's body double. But I am not Celeste. I never was. I straighten my back, and for the first time, I look at myself in the mirror. Not as Celeste, but as Amelia Leclerc. My own name echoes in my mind, a name I had forgotten, a name I was forced to bury. But now it is rising to the surface, demanding to be spoken. Tomorrow, I will walk down the aisle, not as Celeste, not as anyone else, but as me. The truth will be exposed, and the kingdom will know who I really am. And with that, the mirror cracks. I turn to Sebastian, my heart pounding. Tomorrow, I whisper, my voice steady now, I will speak my name. His eyes widen, and for a brief moment, I see the same understanding in them, the same fear, the same longing. He steps closer, reaching out to me, but I pull away, my resolve hardening. I don't need anyone to save me. I will save myself. Tomorrow, I will walk into my destiny. The heavy silence of the wedding hall is suffocating. It presses in on me, cold and oppressive, as though the very air has become a prison of expectations. The music, once light and celebratory, now feels like a dirge, each note a weight dragging me deeper into a sea of uncertainty. I stand at the altar, surrounded by the grandeur of the royal ceremony, but none of it matters. The silk and satin of the gown feels foreign against my skin, and the eyes of the kingdom that are watching me, expecting me to play the role of Princess Celeste, only remind me of how far I've strayed from the person I truly am. My heart pounds in my chest, and every breath feels like a struggle. I'm about to do this. I'm about to expose everything. My thoughts swirl in a storm of fear and resolve. There's no turning back now. The truth, the painful, undeniable truth, is about to spill from my lips, and I have no idea what will come next. The guests are all around me, the royal family seated in their positions of power, their expressions masked behind the weight of tradition and duty. Their eyes are on Celeste's body double, the woman who has been groomed to stand in for their precious princess. They expect nothing more than the continuation of the fairy tale, the one they've written for generations. They expect me to be her, but I can't be. I won't be. This is my moment, this is my truth. I swallow hard and step forward, the weight of my decision settling heavily in the pit of my stomach. I am not Celeste. I never was. The words tumble through my mind like a chant, a steady rhythm that propels me forward. And then, as the eyes of the room burn into me, I take a deep breath, feeling the power of the truth rising within me like a fire that can no longer be contained. My name is not Celeste, I say, my voice steady but trembling with the enormity of what I'm about to reveal. My name is Amelia Leclerc. The room goes still. The gasp that ripples through the guests is like a physical blow, and for a moment I think the ground beneath me might crumble. The silence is suffocating, and I feel every eye in the room turn toward me, dissecting me, judging me. Do they believe me? Do they understand? The royal family's faces are a study in disbelief, their masks of composure cracking as the truth begins to seep into the very foundation of their world. Queen Alara's hands, once perfectly poised, tremble as they grip the armrest of her chair. The king, whose eyes are usually so cold and calculating, now looks at me as if I am a specter, something that should have stayed buried. His lips part, as if to speak, but no words come. In that moment, I feel as though the entire kingdom has turned its gaze upon me, demanding answers, demanding an explanation. But there are no answers that will make this any easier. I stand taller, my chest rising with the weight of the truth. I am the daughter of a man who once stood by your king's side, I continue, my voice growing stronger with each word. A man who was falsely accused of treason and erased from history. My father, your father's closest confidant, was betrayed by the very people he trusted. The room shifts, the tension becoming palpable. The whispers begin like the rustling of leaves in a storm. They never wanted me to know this. They never wanted anyone to know. My blood runs cold as I think of the years I spent in ignorance, the life I lived in the shadow of lies. They erased my father's name, my family's name, as though he never mattered. I take another step forward, the words tumbling from my mouth with a power I never thought I possessed. I've spent my whole life in the shadow of Celeste, hiding behind a name that wasn't mine, and now it's time for my family's legacy to be remembered. My name, my real name, will be spoken, and the truth will not be buried anymore. There's a moment of stunned silence, and then it happens. The queen's face contorts in fury, her eyes narrowing as the truth takes root. Her carefully constructed world is crumbling before her eyes, and she doesn't know how to stop it. The king, his jaw clenched, rises from his seat, his expression darkening, as if he is about to demand control. But there's no control left to be had. The truth is out, the lies are exposed, and I am free. I glance to my side, meeting Sebastian's gaze. His expression is unreadable, his eyes searching mine as if trying to understand. Does he see me now? Does he finally understand who I am, what I've been through? His lips part, and for a moment I think he will say something that might change everything. But instead he remains silent. His loyalty to the crown is a bond that is hard to break, and I can see the conflict in his eyes. Does he stand with me, or with them? The silence stretches, thick and suffocating, until finally it is broken by Celeste. She steps forward, her presence suddenly so sharp, so commanding, that it feels like the ground shifts beneath me. Her eyes meet mine, cold, calculating, and for a moment I can see everything she has been hiding. The world she has built, the lie she has lived, is now exposed, and she is standing in the midst of it. Her voice is icy, cutting through the tension like a blade. "You," she says, her tone dripping with disdain. "You're nothing more than a thief, a pretender. You've stolen my life." Her words hit me like a slap, but I do not flinch. She has no right to call me that. She is the one who has been living a lie, pretending to be someone she's not. "You're right," I say, my voice low but steady. "I've stolen nothing. I've only claimed what should have been mine. And now, the kingdom will know who I really am." There's a moment of stunned silence, and then the room erupts. The whispers grow louder, the shock spreading like wildfire. The royal family scrambles to regain control of the narrative, but it's too late. I've already sent the journal to the press. The truth cannot be buried again. The weight of it crashes down on me. I've done it. I've exposed the lies. And yet, as the room spins, as the whispers of the guests wash over me like a tidal wave, I know there is no turning back. There is no going back to the life I once knew. The royal family may try to erase me again, may try to silence me, but it doesn't matter. I have already taken back my name. I've already claimed my legacy. I turn to face them all, my shoulders straight and my head held high. I will not take your crown, I say, my voice unwavering. I do not need your title. What I want is for my family's legacy to be restored, for my name to be remembered. And as I stand there, in the heart of the kingdom that once tried to erase me, I know one thing for certain. I will never be silenced again. The days following the wedding were a blur. The kingdom was in turmoil, its carefully crafted image fractured beyond repair. News outlets buzzed with the scandal of the century. Amelia Leclerc, the long-lost daughter of a disgraced noble family, had exposed the royal family's darkest secrets. The truth, once buried beneath layers of lies and deceit, was now laid bare for the world to see. I was no longer a mere body double. I was a symbol of rebellion, a force that could not be ignored. Everywhere I went, whispers followed me like an unshakable shadow. In the streets, in the markets, even in the quiet corners of the palace, I could feel their eyes on me. She's the one who brought down the monarchy. She's the one who ruined everything. The words, though never spoken aloud, hung in the air like an invisible fog, suffocating me. Yet, in some strange way, I welcomed it. For the first time in my life, I was free. The weight of the lies, the burden of pretending to be someone I wasn't, had been lifted from my shoulders. The price of truth was steep, but the reward was worth it. I had taken control of my own story, and now no one could take that away from me. I stand before the window of my apartment, looking out at the city below. The streets are bustling with life, people going about their daily routines, oblivious to the chaos that had rocked their world. How much has changed? I think. How much have I changed? The truth has a way of changing everything. It strips away the illusions, exposing the raw reality beneath. For so long, I had been living in the shadow of others, pretending to be someone I wasn't. Now, I was learning to live in the light, to embrace who I truly was, free from the expectations and obligations that had once bound me. The sound of footsteps behind me pulls me from my thoughts. I turn to see him, Sebastian. His expression is unreadable, his face shadowed with something I can't quite place. He's been here every day since the scandal broke, always lingering in the background, always watching me from afar. I've been thinking about you, he says, his voice quiet but steady, about what you did, about how you changed everything. I don't answer right away. His words hang in the air, heavy with meaning. Does he think I did it for him? Does he think I did it for us? I didn't do it for you, I say, my voice sharper than I intend. I didn't do it for anyone. I pause, feeling the weight of my own words. I did it for me. He looks at me, his gaze softening. I know. I wanted you to know that I admire you, for everything you've done, for everything you are. His words should make me feel something warm, something hopeful. But instead, they only make me feel colder. I don't need admiration. I don't need him to save me. You don't have to admire me, Sebastian, I say, my voice low, almost gentle. I've already saved myself. His eyes flicker with something, regret, longing, maybe, before he steps closer. Amelia? You don't have to do this alone. I'm here. I shake my head, cutting him off. You don't understand. I don't need saving. I never did. He opens his mouth to speak again, but I hold up my hand, stopping him. I don't need anyone to rescue me, Sebastian. I've spent my entire life waiting for someone to come and change things for me. But I've realized something. There's no one coming. No one can change it except me. For a long moment, neither of us speaks. The silence between us feels heavy, weighted with unspoken truths. He wants to save me. He wants to be my hero. But I've already learned that I can't rely on anyone but myself. The world I've been living in, full of lies, expectations, and hollow promises, isn't the world I want anymore. I want something more. I want freedom. I want my legacy. I'm not the same person I was before, I say softly, almost to myself. I can't go back. I won't. Sebastian doesn't answer. Instead, he stands there, watching me, his gaze filled with something I can't decipher. But I don't need him to understand. I don't need anyone to understand. This is my journey now. I turn away, my mind already racing ahead to what comes next. What do I want? The answer comes to me slowly, like a whisper from the past. My mother's voice echoes in my mind, the stories she used to tell me when I was young. Stories of powerful women, of legacies built not on titles, but on the strength of character. She used to say that true power wasn't given, it was taken, earned. My mother's legacy was stolen. My father's name was erased from history. But I can give them back what was taken from them. I can build something new, something that belongs to me. The Madeleine Leclerc Institute, a foundation dedicated to erasing the history of women and families unjustly erased by the powerful. It's my turn to make sure no one else is forgotten. The next day, I stand before the press. The weight of their gaze is nothing compared to the weight of my own conviction. The cameras flash as I step to the podium, the spotlight shining down on me, brighter than ever before. Is the moment I've been waiting for. This is the moment when I take my place in the world, not as a body double, not as a shadow, but as a woman who is finally free. Today, I stand before you as Amelia Leclerc. I begin, my voice steady and strong. Not the body double of a princess, not a woman defined by the legacy of others, but as myself. I've taken back my name, I've taken back my power, and now I will ensure that my family's legacy is never forgotten again. The press falls silent, their eyes fixed on me. I know they're waiting for the next big revelation, for the drama that has surrounded me since the moment I stepped into this world. But I don't need to give them that. I've already given them the truth. The rest is mine to shape. I have founded the Madeleine Leclerc Institute, I continue, my voice growing stronger with every word. A place where the voices of women, of families who have been erased by the powerful, will be heard. A place where legacies will be restored, not by titles, but by the strength of those who have been silenced. I pause, letting the weight of my words settle over the room. This is my legacy. This is my future. The applause is soft at first, tentative, but it grows louder until it fills the entire room, until it fills me too. For the first time in my life, I feel like I am standing in my own truth, free from the shadows of others. I will not be forgotten. I will make sure of it. The air is thick with anticipation as I stand at the podium, the press cameras clicking away, the room a sea of eager faces. The Madeleine Leclerc Institute is more than just a foundation. It is a testament to everything I have fought for, everything I have sacrificed. I stand here now, not as the body double, not as the shadow of a princess, but as me, Amelia Leclerc, the name I once buried beneath the weight of lies, now spoken loud enough to echo through history. This is my legacy, this is my moment. My breath catches in my throat as I look out at the audience, the eyes of the world upon me. There are no more masks to wear, no more pretending. My voice trembles at first, but I steady myself. I stand before you today not as a symbol of royalty or of privilege, I begin, the words coming slowly, deliberately, with each syllable carrying the weight of everything I've lost and gained. I stand here as a woman who reclaimed her name, her power, and her truth. The Madeleine Leclerc Institute is a place where voices will never be silenced again, where families torn apart by history's cruelty will have a place to heal and to rise again. The room is silent for a moment, but then it bursts into applause. It is soft at first, tentative, as if unsure how to respond. But then it grows, the sound swelling like a tide, lifting me higher with every clap. I did this. I am doing this. I turn away from the podium, feeling the weight of the moment settle over me. The gown I wear, once a symbol of my forced role as Celeste's double, feels heavier now, like a weight I can no longer bear. I walk to the side, my steps deliberate, my heart pounding with an unfamiliar exhilaration. And then, with a quiet resolve, I pull at the fabric of the gown. It's not a sudden motion, more like a slow shedding of something that no longer fits, no longer belongs. I unlace the bodice, step out of the dress that was never meant for me, and leave it behind. The room falls into an awed silence as I stand there, my shoulders bare, no longer hidden behind the mask of royalty. In that moment, I realize that I have shed more than just a gown. I have shed the remnants of a life that was never mine to live. I am free. The woman in front of the room now is not the one the kingdom tried to erase. She is the one who fought for her own truth. She is the one who chose to be her own legacy. My gaze flickers to the mirror behind me, and for the first time in what feels like forever, I see myself clearly. Not just the reflection of a princess or a body double, but a woman who has forged her own path. A woman who has chosen independence over submission, truth over silence. This is who I am. The applause is a distant hum in my ears as I step forward, my steps sure and steady. This moment, this freedom, is mine. And I know, deep down, that I will never allow anyone to take it from me again. Later, after the press conference and the initial rush of recognition, I find myself standing outside on the balcony of the Institute, overlooking the city. The sun is setting, casting the world in soft golden light. The view is breathtaking, but it's the quietness of the moment that really strikes me. How strange it is to be here, alone, yet not alone at all, to have claimed my place in the world and not feel the need to ask for permission anymore. Footsteps approach, soft and deliberate. I turn to see him. Sebastian. His presence, once so heavy with expectation, now feels like a distant memory. His face is soft, his features drawn with a sadness that hasn't quite dissipated since the day everything changed. "You're free," he says, his voice almost a whisper, as if he's afraid to break the fragile peace between us. I nod, though it's more to myself than to him. I am. There's a pause. A long stretch of silence where neither of us speaks, where the weight of everything that has passed hangs between us like an invisible thread. Is he still holding on, I wonder? Does he still want to save me? To pull me back into the world of the monarchy where I would be nothing more than an ornament? "I thought you were going to need me," he says softly, his gaze distant as he watches the city below. "I thought you would want to stay, to be a part of it, the crown, the kingdom, us. Us." The word hangs in the air, fragile and unfinished. I know what he's saying, what he's offering. It's the same offer he's given me over and over, an escape from the world I've built, a way back into the life I no longer want. "I don't need the crown," I say, my voice steady now, each word firm with the certainty that has grown within me. "I don't need the kingdom. I need my legacy. I need my name. And that's something no crown can give me." His gaze shifts to me, a mixture of admiration and sorrow in his eyes. He doesn't speak for a long moment, and I wonder if he understands. Does he finally see me? Or is he still caught in the illusion of what we could have been? "I understand," he says finally, his voice thick with emotion. "I always understood. But I don't think I can be what you need me to be. I can't change the world like you can." I look at him, a bittersweet smile tugging at my lips. I never needed him to change the world. I needed him to understand that I could. "You're not what I need," I say, my voice gentle. "You were never meant to be my savior. I never needed saving. Not from you. Not from anyone." He looks at me for a long time, his eyes searching mine, and for a fleeting moment I see the conflict in them. The struggle to let go, to accept that the woman standing before him is not the girl he once knew. But I am not the same girl. I've grown. I've become something else. Sebastian steps back, his shoulders slumping with the weight of something unspoken. "I hope you find everything you're looking for, Amelia. I really do. And with that, he turns, walking away, leaving me standing on the balcony, alone but not lonely, empowered by the truth that has led me here. I don't need him to stay. I don't need the kingdom to remember me. I have already made my mark on the world. I turned back to the city, the sun now dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. This is my new beginning. This is my rebirth. I walk away, the weight of my name now my own, no longer a shadow. Amelia Leclerc will never be forgotten. The morning sun filters through the trees, casting long shadows across the cobblestones of Paris. The city feels different today, like it's holding its breath, waiting for something, someone. Maybe it's waiting for me. I walk through the streets, my steps sure and deliberate. The weight of the past has long since been shed, yet there is a sense of finality to today. The world around me, once so distant, now feels intimately familiar. Every corner, every alley, every stone beneath my feet carries a memory, a moment of my journey. I've come so far. I remember the girl who once stood in the shadows, unsure of her place in the world. I remember the fear that kept me silent, the uncertainty that clouded every step I took. That girl is gone now. Now I walk with purpose, my head held high, my shoulders strong. The name I once buried beneath the weight of lies, Amelia Leclerc, is no longer a secret. It is a banner I carry proudly, and with every footstep, I am reminded of the power I've reclaimed. I am not just a name. I am my own legacy. The Madeleine Leclerc Institute stands proudly ahead of me. It is more than just a building, it is the embodiment of everything I've fought for, everything I've endured. The women who walk through its doors are no longer silenced, they are no longer shadows in someone else's story. They are reclaiming their voices, their power, their lives. This is my legacy, and it is growing stronger every day. Inside the Institute, I see the work we've done. Walls lined with photographs of women who have stood up and spoken out, women whose lives have been transformed by the support we provide. This is why I fought. This is why I will never go back. I smile to myself, taking in the bustling activity around me. There's a fire here, a warmth that speaks of hope and defiance. These women, these survivors, are the reason I can walk with my head held high. The kingdom tried to erase me, tried to bury my name, but they failed. I will never be a shadow again. Later that day, the press conference. The room is filled with flashing cameras, reporters scrambling for the next headline, the next soundbite. This is my final moment in the spotlight, the moment I stand before the world and finally say what I've needed to say for so long. I take my place at the podium, feeling the weight of the moment settle over me. This isn't just about the kingdom anymore. This isn't about the royals or their lies. This is about me. About reclaiming my story and making it mine. The room quiets as I step forward, the eyes of the world on me. I've been here before. I've been under their gaze, trapped in their expectations, but today I am free. Thank you for being here. I begin, my voice calm, steady. Today, we mark the beginning of something new. Not just for me, but for all the women who have been erased, silenced, and forgotten by those in power. The Madeleine Leclerc Institute is a place where the past no longer holds us back. It's a place where women can find their voice again, a place where they can rise from the ashes of their past and reclaim their future. The cameras flash, the reporters scribble notes, but it's the quiet of the room that speaks the loudest. I've said it now, I've said it all, and the world is listening. Over the last few years, I've had to come to terms with who I am and what I've been through. I've had to confront the lies, the betrayal, and the erasure of my family's name. I pause, my gaze sweeping the room, letting the weight of my words settle. I was never meant to be anyone's shadow. I was never meant to live in the margins of someone else's story. I can feel the eyes of the kingdom on me, watching, waiting. But I won't bend anymore. I won't be their puppet. I won't be their silent girl in the back of the room. They gave me a gown not meant for me, a name that wasn't mine, and a role I was never meant to outgrow. I continue, my voice growing stronger, the words flowing with a power I never thought I would have. But I didn't just speak my name, I made them remember it. The words hang in the air, each syllable ringing with the defiance I've carried within me for so long. The kingdom, those who tried to bury me, to keep me in the shadows, will remember my name, not as a body double, not as a forgotten heir, but as the woman who stood up and reclaimed her truth. I step away from the podium, the applause beginning as a ripple and growing into a tidal wave of recognition. The world is waking up. The world is listening. And for the first time, I feel like I belong in it. Later, after the press conference, I find myself standing on the balcony of the Institute. The city sprawls out before me, the sun dipping below the horizon, casting the world in a warm golden glow. I've done it. I've changed everything. The sound of footsteps behind me draws me from my thoughts, and I turn to see him. Sebastian. His face is soft, a mixture of admiration and sadness in his eyes. He stands there, just out of reach, as if unsure whether to approach. "You've done it," he says, his voice low but filled with something I can't quite place. "You've changed everything." I nod, the weight of his words settling over me. I have changed everything. I've changed myself. "I did it for me," I say softly. "I did it because I was never going to be anyone's shadow again." His gaze lingers on me, and I can see the conflict in his eyes, the longing, the regret. He's not the person I need anymore. "I don't need saving. I never did." "We're proud of you," he says, his voice thick with emotion. "I always was." I smile, but it's a bittersweet smile. I never needed him to be proud of me. I needed to be proud of myself. "You were never meant to save me," I say, the finality of the words settling in my chest. "I saved myself." Sebastian nods, a small, wistful smile tugging at his lips. "I know." He pauses, taking a step back, his eyes lingering on me for a moment longer. "Goodbye, Amelia. I hope you find everything you're looking for." And with that, he turns and walks away, leaving me standing on the balcony, the weight of the past behind me, the future stretching out before me like an open road. I turn back to the city, the streets of Paris alive with possibility, and for the first time in my life, I feel like I am standing in my own truth. I will never be a shadow again. Remember, your truth is your power, and no one can take that away unless you let them. So, what's your next step toward reclaiming your own legacy? Tell us in the comments below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more inspiring stories that will help you stand tall in your own truth.